Agony in Europe tonight as Italy's death toll passes 10,000. A day after another morbid milestone, 919 dead on Friday, the most in one day in any country. Global cases rising above 650,000, with more than 30,000 dead. The Pope cutting a lonely figure with a special prayer for those facing hunger due to the virus. The 83-year-old and his close colleagues testing negative for the virus today. Despite nearly 3 weeks of a national lockdown, the government now possibly extending that date to mid-April. Police are tightening the rules. Fines increased to up to $3,350, up from $230 earlier. In nearby Spain, authorities today reported 832 more deaths, the country's highest daily count yet.
A man in his 80s is the latest Victorian to succumb to the deadly coronavirus, passing away in a Melbourne hospital, bringing the state's death toll to 4. It comes as hundreds of travellers returning from overseas were herded into Crown hotels, forced to quarantine for 2 weeks. Stephanie Anderson reports.
Luxury hotels now strict isolation centres that return travellers will be forced to call home for 14 days. With new rules effective from midnight, every person landing on Australian soil is now processed and sent into lockdown. Hundreds herded onto buses and into the heart of the city from early this morning, many happy to be home despite how different it looks. The quarantine hotels aren't accepting regular guests and taxpayers will cover the cost.
Of course, in times of crisis, there are always people who try to capitalize on the situation, like the man who told his 2.4 million followers on Instagram that he had a cure for coronavirus. He was just arrested after the FBI says he tried to sell them pills in an undercover operation. Les Trent has details.
My name is Keith Middlebrook.
This man is making the unbelievable claim that the syringe he's holding can cure the coronavirus.
This is the cure right here going into mass production, and this is going to save and change the world.
Is he a doctor? A scientist? Nope. 53-year-old Keith Lawrence Middlebrook is a bit actor. He had a cameo in Iron Man 2.
I have what makes you immune to the coronavirus.
Not so fast. The FBI just arrested him for attempted fraud.
The first experimental treatment of patients infected with COVID-19 has started in Norway. Oslo University Hospital is one of 22 venues in the country carrying out the major international study by the World Health Organization. The first drug to be tested will be Plaquenil, originally made to treat malaria. Then a drug for Ebola will also be tested. The Director Chief Executive Officer of the Research Council of Norway explains that the malaria medicine reduces inflammation and works against the parasite, which may be a possible effect mechanism. But he says he doesn't know yet if Ebola medicine, which was developed to work against that virus and several others, will work against the coronavirus.
Let's go here now. South Africans have been warned not to taunt or test soldiers deployed to enforce the 21-day lockdown. SANDF Commander-in-Chief Cyril Ramaphosa has ordered the soldiers to conduct their mission with respect and humility. He's reminded them they're not entering hostile territory. Here's Govind Whittles with the details.
Soldiers of war deployed among their own countrymen. And the Commander-in-Chief has reminded them citizens aren't the enemy.
As you go out, you are not going into hostile territory. Our people are not hostile. They are not going to be against you. They are not going to resist you.
And dozens of prisoners have rioted in a jail in Thailand over coronavirus fears. Some convicts managed to escape in the chaos. Authorities said the situation at Buri Ram prison, where 2,000 inmates were held, is now under control. Thailand has recorded 1,388 cases of the coronavirus, including 7 deaths.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا حبيبك أجا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Saudi state television is reporting a missile was intercepted over the capital Riyadh. Another missile has reportedly hit the southern coastal city of Jizan on the Red Sea near the border with Yemen.
Well, I think it's very clear that it's the Houthis who are behind it. The Houthis have been engaged in an offensive over the past couple of weeks. They've just taken Al Jauf governorate, which is next door to Saudi Arabia in the north of Yemen. They're threatening another governorate, Marib, which is the oil-producing region of Yemen. So they are running hard and fast right now. So I think it's very clear to me, at any rate, that these will have come from the Houthis. This is a message, if you will, to the Saudis that you are vulnerable to us.
North Korea fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles on Sunday from its eastern coastal city of Wonsan towards the East Sea at around 6:10 a.m. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said they recorded a flight distance of some 230 kilometers and a maximum flight altitude of some 30 kilometers. The missiles were launched from transporter-erector launchers, which are used to move the missiles to different locations, and they were fired some 20 seconds apart. The Joint Chiefs urged the North to refrain from such military action as the international community struggles to deal with the difficulties arising from the COVID-19 pandemic. A local expert says the recent series of weapons tests by the North are part of its strategic weapons program planned years in advance that had been stalled temporarily in 2018 to support its denuclearization talks with Washington.